In this unit, we will talk about social comparisons. To guide you into thinking about social comparison, think about the question, are you tall? Without comparing yourself to others, it will be quite difficult to answer this question. But if I ask you, are you tall compared to your mother? You will be making a social comparison. And you could also compare yourself to other different types of people, like the national average or people from other countries. So making these social comparisons, you will find more about yourself. And also using information from others, you will know where you are. We engage in social comparison because we have a basic human desire, which is the need for self-evaluation. People may compare themselves with others to see how their beliefs or behaviors fit or doesn't fit with the social norm. When we are unclear about social norms, values, or opinions, we may observe others. For example, you may observe that Indians don't eat with their left hand. And you may compare with others when you want to assess the level of your ability. And when we compare our performance with others, it not only helps us evaluate ourselves, but also can benchmark our performance related to another person. The factors that influence whether people will engage in social comparison are relevance and similarity. Relevance, for example, as students, you are likely to compare your performance as a student to other classmates. A student earning a 70% on an exam might be curious about how they are scoring compared to other classmates on the same exam. This comparison can help you interpret your performance in context. And for similarity, people usually compare themselves to those who are similar. For instance, a student wouldn't want to compare their test score to a professor's score. Social comparison could be bidirectional. And let's talk about upward comparison first. In upward comparison, you are comparing yourself to people who are doing better than you. For example, if you score below the average in the class, and you are making a comparison to those who scored above the average, you will be making an upward comparison. It was found that silver medalists tend to be less happy than the bronze medalists. The silver medalists may feel frustrated about their performance compared to the gold medalist, and may start to question about their abilities, which threatens their self-esteem. Researchers analyzed people's smiles using facial marker software, and they found that people who earn gold is the happiest, followed by bronze. This is because silver medalists may engage in counterfactual thoughts when they are making an upward comparison, and may experience regret and envy. For downward comparison, this is when you compare yourself to people who are doing worse than you. For example, if you learn that your score is 70%, was better than the class average, and that your friend in class scored only 55, you would be making a downward comparison. There are different consequences. For the positive one, if you score well on an exam compared to your classmate, you might be encouraged and motivated to keep working hard. And for the negative consequences, you may treat those who are doing more poorly than you with scorn or disrespect. The factors that influence whether people will engage in social comparison are relevance and similarity. The self-evaluation maintenance model builds on social comparison theory. It emphasizes that relationship closeness also play an important role. The model points to a range of psychosocial forces that help and maintain our self-evaluation and self-esteem. And it can help explain why we are actually more likely to be upset when we are outperformed by a friend than a stranger. For example, you major in music. You play the piano and your friend plays the cello. In competitions, you each go to your own competition. And if you and your friend got first place in your instrument, you would be happy for each other. However, the scenario changes if both of you plays the piano. So this theory describes how people might react after social comparison, and it also explains what people may do to maintain their self-esteem. Social comparison and its effects on self-evaluation will depend on personality and individual differences. For example, people with mastery goals will respond positively during social comparison, and those with growth mindset believes that abilities can be improved through hard work, so they are also more likely to have positive outcomes. Then we will talk about how situational factors can influence degrees of social comparison. The number of comparators do play a role. For example, we tend to feel pressured to compare ourselves to others when we are competing against fewer others than when we are competing against a large group of people. We will end the video with two different phenomena. The first one is the frog pond effect. Most people prefer to be a big frog in a small pond than to be a small frog in a bigger pond. So a strong student might prefer to shine at a smaller and less competitive university, rather than to be an ordinary student in a more competitive one. The small university may provide more potential opportunities to engage in downward comparison, which may boost your self-esteem. And for the Dunning-Kruger effect, it refers to the fact that unskilled people are often too confident about their performance. They overestimate how well they do compared to their peers. So this is explained as resulting from a double curse. So they not only are these people who are cursed to do poorly, but they are also cursed to be unable to recognize their poor performance. And they are less likely to make any effort to improve. They don't know what they don't know, and they also overestimate their abilities. In our next unit, we will learn about different types of persuasion techniques, and I will see you in the next video.